What's up, Houston Texans fans? Mello Mike here for the Bull Bash. This is second video in our report cards, and like I said, this is going to be the skills positions players. We'll start with the running backs, and the running back position has been, I would say it's been kind of up and down, just like this offense has been. The production is not there that you need from the running back group. I think overall they have excelled in other areas outside of running the ball. And I think primarily that's been the pass protection by both Nick Chubb and Woody Marks. They have done a great job in there, especially a surprise from Woody Marks. A rookie coming in, he's credited Nick Chubb for helping him in his pass protection. And of course, he picked some up when he was at USC. The bigger thing is just the offensive line. The blocking has not been consistent there to open up running lanes for these running backs. A lot of it has been reliant on them creating, making players miss on first contact, getting to the second level on their own. And there's been moments where we've had very well executed running plays that were designed that way, and that has been great. But then there's been a lot of plays where the offensive line has faltered. They've allowed that penetration to come through, and we see the same old thing. The running backs getting stuffed for loss in the backfield. Nick Chubb, exactly what we expected. About 70%, I would say, of what we saw of him in his prime. He's had one explosive run on the season that came against Tampa Bay. And we all know, if you watch that game, that Tampa Bay let him score to get the ball back with the time. So you really cannot count that play. Nick Chubb has been a steady change mover, pounding the ball between the tackles, getting hard yards, averaging about 4 yards a carry, and he's been consistent. However, Nick Chubb has not been the presence you would like in red zone situation, being the power back between the tackles running. You would like to have seen more of his influence and presence in the red zone to help this offense, because they need to find ways to score points in the red zone any way absolutely possible. Woody Marks, just under 4 yards a carry. I think it's about 3.7. Been getting more reps as the season has progressed. He took number one running back reps last week. And this is exactly what I saw out of Woody Marks when he was drafted out of USC. Everybody was saying that Woody Marks was a receiving back. He was a third down specialist. Woody Marks has that ability to be a 3-down running back in a very similar role as Kyren Williams with the Rams. If the offensive line supports him, he can be a 3-down back. You just want to limit the volume of carries that he has to keep him fresh, to keep him more explosive. He is very comparable to Joe Mixon and a lot of the things that he does with his running style and everything like that. He is just not as explosive as Mixon is. Now, the thing that Woody Marks does excel at, and they were right about him being a very good receiving back coming out of college, is Woody Marks is an exceptional safety valve for a quarterback coming out of the backfield to be able to help bail quarterbacks out when the pass rush is getting there very quickly. Small dump offs. We've seen Woody Marks take a short dump off 49 yards in a game. Woody Marks has the vision and the route running savvy to be an exceptional third down back, change of pace back, and also give you some running between the tackles as well if the blocking is there. Woody Marks averaging about 12.2 yards with his receiving. All right, that is great. That is absolutely phenomenal. Now, bear in mind that a lot of that 12.2 did come off of that 49-yard scamper that I mentioned earlier. So it was basic on that chunk play. But Woody Marks has been a reliable receiver for the quarterbacks. He's been reliable in pass protection. He's given you some moments as a running back running the football. It's just not been there consistently enough. And another stat for you guys is there has not been a single Texans running back this year to break the 100-yard mark. The Texans definitely are feeling the absence of Joe Mixon. And as we see, we're not counting on Mixon this year, right? If he comes back at any point this year, we'll believe it when we see it. But as far as the other running backs goes, Damian Pierce has been a non-factor. He had one game. He was absolutely terrible. He has no vision. He has no ability to make defenders miss in the hole. Uh, Other than exceptional athleticism and him breaking a big run when the hole is there, you have to give him a volume of carries to be able to get him going, and those carries just aren't consistent enough to where he would factor into the running back rotation. If he were getting carries and averaging about 3.7 like Woody Marks, 4 yards a carry, then you could rely on Damian Pierce a little bit more. But Damian Pierce just does not have the vision that you would like out of a running back. I think this is probably going to be his last year in Houston. The Texans will allow him to leave in free agency if they cannot find anybody that's going to trade. And I think his contract is up after this year anyway. So I don't see any value in him. He's been used primarily as a special teamer, returns, kick returns to be more specific, and he's given us absolutely nothing in that regard there. He's lost his reps to guys like Tremont Smith, uh, Jalen Noel, Braxton Berrios, and there's just not a spot on this roster for a guy like Damian Pierce. He's taken away a roster spot from somebody else that could give you more reliable contributions. And as for Daria Gumpwali, I mean, we've seen him and are frustrated over the fumble that cost us the game. Daria should not have been placed into that position. The thing that we've been frustrated with is the rotation early off in the season. Now they've started to figure out that rotation. Another thing that's gone on with the running backs is this scheme that Nick Haley has installed with the running game. It started out by building upon just simple gap concepts in the early weeks of the season, and they've slowly implemented more duo, double teams on the interior to be able to get more movement for the running backs against bigger defensive fronts. The Texans have struggled and have implemented the jumbo package to be able to get more results and effectiveness out of the running game. But Nick Haley has been doing a good job as of late, getting the most that he can out of his committee of running backs, and has started to use this committee a little bit more the way that we would have liked early off in the season. More Woody Marks, less Damian, less Dare, uh, Nick Chubb coming in there, and everybody saying that Woody Marks should be RB1, right? The way a committee works is you don't need a designated RB1. You need a guy that's going to take the bulk of the carries, do the heavy lifting, attacking between the tackles, and then you have that guy that's explosive as a handcuff to your other running back. They complement each other. The bulk of the carries is going to go whoever is the most effective runner in a particular game based upon the matchup. That's how you want your committee system to work. But obviously, without a shadow of a doubt, we want to see more of Woody Marks out there on the third downs, right? Give that guy at least 4 touches, 5 touches as a receiver, in addition to about 12 to 15 carries as a running back. That's where that sweet spot is for Woody Marks. As for Nick Chubb, we want to see him featured more in goal line situations. If they could get this offensive line working, get him continuously pounding it between the tackles at 4 yards a carry, you're going to be all right there. We don't want to see Damian Pierce. We don't want to see Daria Gumbawali. We've seen some of British Brooks. British Brooks, 1 yard line. He had success one game. The other time they tried doing it twice. They got nothing out of it. The interior offensive line is just not effective in goal line situations, short areas, being able to go strength on strength. They do not have that mentality in between the tackles. So it's affected the running game, particularly in the red zone. And British Brooks, he's given you basically nothing at all as a receiver. And his lead blocking ability is hit and miss. There's times where he's lined up at a traditional I formation directly in front of the running back, and he just does not have that same effect as a lead blocker as when you go with the offset I formations, whether it's a weak eye or a strong eye, or maybe a pro formation if you go a little bit old school. When he's coming at an angle as a lead blocker, he seems to have something that's just a little bit more to when he's coming out of those offset formations and going straight ahead. And he does very, very well. We've seen him wipe out some defensive tackles. But British Brooks ultimately not effective as a reliable short yardage running back, goal line type of running back to power it in there. And just not the greatest run blocker, but he's converting from being a traditional tailback to a fullback. So there's still things that he's learning. And the other guy, Jakob Johnson, he's been injured. He's been on IR. Jakob is a decent lead blocker. He's going to give you some space. He's going to clear out holes. He is also a very reliable safety valve, but you don't have the athleticism of British Brooks. So on running plays, Jakob Johnson is not going to give you what British Brooks would give you. So it's kind of a mix and match with those two there. All in all, with the running backs room, I'm going to give them probably a C+. Just my ratings on the way that they performed this year. I think the pass protection between Marks and Chubb has been exceptional. I think they're starting to use Woody Marks very well as a third down receiving back, somebody that bails out the quarterbacks when that pass rush gets home. I think they're starting to find the plays that suit the running back strengths and call them more appropriately and tailor this running game. It could get a little bit more effective if they start to find the right rotation of offensive linemen in front of those guys and allow that to gel. So C+ for the running backs is my grade. And let me know what you guys think there on the running backs. Now we're going to get into the wide receivers position. And wide receivers has been a mixed bag for us this year. There's been good, there's been bad. I think when we look at and evaluate the wide receivers, Nico Collins has not been consistent enough for us. And this is not what we envision Nico's usage looking like. Now, statistically, Nico Collins is at 50 catches on the year. He generally went last year for 67, but he did miss 5 games last year. And Nico is a guy that you cannot overly rely upon because he's going to have those games where he is going to miss games because of soft tissue injuries. And they just have not focused on him as heavily as they have in past. And he's not been effective because I think defenses are starting to roll their coverages toward Nico. They're saying, we're not going to let Nico Collins beat us. We're going to make you beat us with the other guys. And that's taken a lot of those opportunities away from Nico. Teams no longer are underestimating Nico Collins. They know what he could do. They know he is a top wide receiver in the league. Now they're making him go out there and prove it. Can you win against shaded coverage? Can you win against double teams? Can you find ways to be creative and get yourself open? And that just has not happened enough. The Texans have been very effective using Nico Collins. Short slants, those sideline out patterns, those are the bread and butter. If this offensive line was better, Nico Collins would be getting a lot more when it comes to those intermediate to deep level crossing routes, which he's been very effective on. You've not seen so much between him and CJ on the scramble drills, which used to be the bread and butter of the offense, right? It's CJ's running around scrambling for his life. He's rolling out towards the sideline. Nico adapts, sees his quarterback, starts coming back to the quarterback, and CJ just heaves the ball up and makes a big play down the field. That has not been the case in 2025. Defenses are aware of that. They know what they're looking to do, and they have taken that away. Also, due to the ineffectiveness of the running game, the play action pass has not been there as consistently as it was last year and the year before in 23, CJ's rookie season. And that has definitely affected the Texans offense. The Texans offense has effectively functioned as more of a check down, take what the defense gives you. There's been a lack of explosive plays from the receivers group. And also, this is again an area where we have to point out the personnel usage. We have Christian Kirk, who was a free agent we brought in, or not a free agent, but we traded to get him, a late round pick, because Jacksonville was going to cut him. And Christian Kirk has not been worth the money that he's making this year. He's been outperformed by both Jaden Higgins, Jalen Noel, He's just gotten more reps because he's a vet, and for some reason, Nick Caley does not trust rookie players, and the rookies have out reps him the last game with Jaden Higgins getting, I think it was 43 reps for Higgins and 40 for Christian Kirk. And then you had 23 reps for Jalen Noel. I want to see the rookies get more reps and decrease the reps of a Christian Kirk. The biggest surprise for us as Texans fans this year has been the emergence of Xavier Hutchinson as a number 5 wide receiver coming in when there was injuries in there. He has been very, very effective. I think he is more effective to me than Christian Kirk is. He does not win as quickly with his routes. He's more of a long strider. It takes longer for him to get open, but Xavier Hutchinson is also tied with Nico Collins and Jaden Higgins for the team lead with 3 touchdowns. Not what you would expect from him, but we saw this coming out of training camp. Xavier Hutchinson had a very good training camp. We were looking for it to continue over into the regular season. In the times that he has gotten opportunities, Xavier Hutchinson, there's too many H's on this team, man. I'm sorry about that, guys. But Xavier Hutchinson, when he's gotten the opportunities, he has made the most of them, and he deserves to see an elevated role to that number 4 wide receiver. You've seen Jerry Wayne come in there when the injuries have taken and hitting the team. 2 catches for 20 yards, 10 yards a pop. That's all that you could expect from Jerry Wayne, a guy that gets elevated for the practice squad to come in when you got injuries and everything there. Overall, with the wide receivers position, I'm going to give them a C minus, just because I think that Nico Collins is underperforming as the X wide receiver. I don't think we're getting the right implement of rotation with the number 2, the number 3 wide receivers. I think they're relying too much on Christian Kirk. He's taken more valuable reps that could go to these younger guys who have showcased the ability and the explosiveness. And I just think there's been a lot of miscommunication between the quarterback position early off, as I mentioned in my last video, as well as at times it seems like there's been a lack of creativity in the play calls and the route concept designs. You would like to see somebody coming from the Ram system have a more creative way to get these wide receivers open with the route designs, and that has not been something that has been apparent. There's a few plays here and there, but overall, it has not been as innovative as we would have liked. We were also talking about the New England Patriots style offense, where they spread everybody out. They make it simplified on C.J. Stroud to be able to read the defense, what they're doing, identify the blitz by spreading the offense out. They've used that sporadically, started to incorporate that a little bit more, seen success with that. 2 slot wide receivers on the field at the same time. We saw that with Noel and Braxton Berrios, and they were very effective. Berrios has been a guy who's made the most of his reps when he went in there at wide receiver. And then he's been underwhelming as a returner. Hasn't really given you any juice. I think Jalen Noel is the primary returner for this football team. And I know this is special teams, but the guy needs to be able to out there on the field, one way or the other. Whether it's special teams, whether he's contributing minimally as a wide receiver in the substitutions, get the guy out there on the field. Get him involved. Find ways to create plays for him within the offensive structure. That is what good coordinators do. They create roles for their role players. And that is what Nick Caley has struggled with doing. And it's been very, very slow to come together. And as the season has progressed, you're running out of games for this to sit there and come together. And you cannot continue to wait. You have to find what works. You have to find what works now. This week against Tennessee is the opportune time to do it. Fine tune what you're going to do. Find out what is going to work for you. What's going to complement these guys the best, because you have a depleted secondary who are starting guys that you have no idea who they are. A David Baker, a Jalen Armour Davis. You don't know who these guys are. The only name that's recognizable in that Tennessee secondary is Amani Hooker. Take advantage of this opportunity in front of you right now. Find ways to create the roles for these guys. Find the correct rotation of players and get them involved. So, like I said, C minus for the wide receivers. Now we're going to go to the tight end group, and this has basically been Dalton Schultz and a bunch of other guys. Right? We've seen the injury to Cade Stover, the injury to Brevin Jordan in preseason before he even got going. Seems like it's been an every year thing with Brevin Jordan. Haven't seen Cade Stover beyond week one. Uh, Harrison Bryant has been absolutely an offense to the tight end position. He does not get himself into position, does not block it all well, misses blocks. He is just a check down wide receiver. He's nothing more than a tight end 3 who's going to be used in 3 tight end packages when you're passing. You don't want him in there as a run blocker. Hopefully, Cade Stover does come back this week, because Cade Stover is a guy that he gives you the physicality after the catch and gets you those yards after contact through broken tackles. Cade Stover is a guy that is going to seal an edge for you. When you're trying to get that running game through the perimeter, Cade Stover is a key element in that. Dalton Schultz himself has been very, very effective this year. He's already on pace to break his 2024 stats. Should eclipse those this game if they continue going to Dalton Schultz. He has been the number 2 target for the Houston Texans this season. Just got his first touchdown last week. That has been slow to come. But Dalton Schultz has been an effective chain-moving possession type of tight end who gets open, savvy route running. Nothing special, nothing flashy. Doesn't give you a lot after the catch. He has the tendency to bounce off of players here and there, but it is not as consistent as you would like to see. His run blocking is more engaged this season. You know, when Dalton Schultz is not engaged in the passing game, he loses interest in run blocking, and the run blocking becomes terrible. When he's engaged, when he's involved in the game plan, when he is a focal point, Dalton Schultz brings you maximum effort. And that has been the case in this contract year, and it seems like it's been like that every single season for Dalton Schultz. When he comes up to a contract year, he shows up big. Do the Houston Texans decide to continue with Dalton Schultz after this season? Do they extend him? Or do they look to bring in a little bit more juice into the tight end room? That's going to be a question for the offseason. So for me, I'm going to give Dalton Schultz, based upon his performance, a B minus, because nobody else has been a factor or a contributor. And Dalton Schultz is doing everything that's asked of him. He's getting open. He's showing the quarterback his numbers. He's finding holes within zones. He's making catches. He's moving chains, extending drives by completing first downs. The only problems I've seen has been there's been a couple of passing concepts that has brought Dalton Schultz on those routes beneath the sticks on third downs where he's been tackled short. That is a play calling issue as well as a veteran tight end issue. As a veteran tight end out there, you need to know where the first down marker is at all times, and you need to extend your route past that marker so that you are picking up the first down once you make the catch. That is simple football. That is not something that is very difficult. It's not something that's particular to elite Pro Bowl caliber players. Everybody can do it. It is just a conscientious effort to remind yourself, where's that marker at? Where am I at? Here's where my route's supposed to go. This is where my route needs to go so I can complete this catch and get a first down. My only gripe with Dalton Schultz right there, and I think that's more to do with the play calling, but as a veteran player, he's got to be able to recognize that and make that adjustment. So like I said, B minus for Dalton Schultz. You know, they call him contract year Dalton. That's when he shows up. That's what we're getting right now. So thank you guys. Let me know. Do you agree with the rotation that Nick Caley has been doing? Do you agree with the grades? What are your grades? Let me know down in the comments. Chat it up. Go H-Town, and we'll see you back here for the next video. We're going to be breaking down the offensive line. That's always a fun one to do. It's one of the most talked about situations in Houston Texans over the past 2 years. And we're going to get into it once again. I'm going to give you the midseason grades on the offensive line. Catch you guys on the next video.